afternoon, New Orleans, or wherever you may be. It's Wednesday at 4, so it's Baldy and the Blonde time. I'm Baldy. Michelle, where are you at?
I'm right here, still
nice
blonde.
You could join us. You made it by like 1 second.
Look, I have a new pink microphone. That's very cute. I'm going to take a picture of this.
Yeah, well,
I like it.
For a while I thought I was going to be doing the show alone, and here you are. Thank you for showing up.
I got some things going on.
I know. All right, well, let's give them a little preview of what we have for the show today.
We got a good show.
We do have a good show. So first, everybody's talking about the State of the Union. I didn't watch it. I know you didn't watch it.
I did not watch it.
But here's what I did do. I just searched the transcript for terms that I wonder what Trump talked about. So we will talk what he talked about, and more importantly, what he did not talk about.
And we're going to get into the Charlie Kirk case. Going to get into some police scanner recordings that reveal a dark twist to the investigation, and also get into some details about the exploding mic theory, which I think is really interesting. And that's that the microphone on his chest exploded and shot a molten jet stream.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing this because I know I've heard a little bit about this.
It is fascinating,
but not very much.
And it's not my investigation. I'm quoting a guy named John Bray. Yeah.
And then now check this out. Over the weekend I used AI, ChatGPT, to analyze videos from the Charlie Kirk assassination and from 9/11. And spoiler alert, it doesn't match up. AI's findings does not match up with the official narrative.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Yeah.
I really am. And I don't know much about this. Tom has unearthed a little-known recording of Epstein in the mid-1970s discussing how he intended to make his fortune.
Okay, the truth of the matter is, a friend of mine sent me that as a tip. I haven't even listened to it because I wanted it to be our reaction just fresh on the air. I think it's pretty short. It's like 15, 20 seconds.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I'll just surprise us both with it. It sounds intriguing because he would have been in his mid-20s announcing how he planned on making his fortune.
Yeah.
I thought, let's play it on the show. We'll play it fresh and we'll react together.
I like it.
All right. So let's go to the State of the Union last night. Neither of us watched that. I texted my wife. She'd already gone to bed. I said, you know what? The least I would take to watch this would be $150, but nobody offered it. But I would. 125, I wouldn't do it. 150, I would have probably done it.
Yeah, I usually would watch something like that, but I had something going on, so I couldn't do it.
No.
So I did watch some what do you call them? Clips and stuff this morning. And
I didn't even bother with that. But I was interested in two things, and two things only, because the rest was, I'm sure, nonsense and fluff. I was interested in what he had to say about Iran, and he did have a little bit to say about Iran.
Yep.
And I was interested to hear what he had to say about the debt, the deficit, and spending. So first, let's hear what he had to say about Iran. I don't have that clip, but it's just one little short sentence.
Yes.
I was wondering if he had anything to say about, that might be beating the drums towards some war or something.
Yes, because I'm worried about that.
He did not. Correct. That would have been very, very important.
Yeah.
He did not. All he had to say about Iran was, he said, last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program.
Well, I'm hearing that for the first time, so I sort of like that.
No, fine. He said that. Now, hang on.
Oh,
the plot thickens.
Oh, jeez.
Now, let's listen to, this is Steve Witkoff. Steve Witkoff is a special envoy to the Middle East.
Yes, he is.
He did an interview with Laura Trump on Fox News on Sunday. Here's what he had to say about Iran's nuclear capabilities. Now, this is just, 6 months after
we obliterated
so-called obliterated them. Let's hear this.
They say that it's all about their civil program, and yet they've been enriching well beyond the number that you need for civil nuclear. It's up to 60%. They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb making material.
Oh, come
a week away. Again, they're still a week away. They've been a week away for 99 years.
I mean,
even after we obliterated them months ago. What is going on?
I mean, that's bull, okay? That is, we are the children of God, right? We do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not right. And if we obliterated it,
then it's not possible.
Then now they're once again 6 weeks away from having what? material that could be
He
a
said
bomb
a
one
week
day.
away.
Yeah, a week away.
A week away.
Yeah, that's
That's the special envoy to the Middle East. And I didn't see Trump come out and correct him. Nobody corrected him.
Well, let me just say that I think if all Trump had to say was last June the U.S. military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program, that does not jive with Wickoff.
No, it doesn't.
And he could be just telling everybody, get back in your corners, go away, we're not doing it. So I hope so, because he does tend to be anti-war, thank God. So let's hope
No,
so.
it's odd that we're still hearing a week away. It's always been a week away, a month away. What for
week
years?
away, a week away, a week away,
For
a week
years.
away, a week away. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Forever.
so that's all he had to say about Iran. Thank God he wasn't saber rattling. But I took a great interest in what he did not say, and all I did was I downloaded the transcript and then searched for certain terms. There's no way I was going to watch it,
Right.
because in my opinion, Iran is the most important, or it's 1A and 1B. The other is the massive government spending and the
For sure.
deficit. And remember, in a generation back, that was always on the table. The news was always talking about the debt, the deficit, the spending. Whenever it came time around for budget time,
Not no
State
more.
of the Union, politicians were always talking about that. That was always on the front burner.
Used
So
to
what
be.
I did was I searched last night's transcript from last night's State of the Union for the words debt, deficit, and spending. And I'm specifically in those contexts. I mean, if you said we owe them a debt of gratitude, I didn't count that. Only in the context of
Right, of
government
course.
spending, government
Yes.
debt. So for the 2026 State of the Union, it was 0 times. But just about the most important issue that you can have.
And I think we're at 30 trillion.
39.
Yeah, 39 trillion and rising every day. So
Now, then I went back to all of his State of the Unions, and remember, technically, the first address you give is not a State of the Union; it's
Right.
an address to Congress. But let's just call them on that.
Yeah.
In 2025, he used the word debt 3 times in this context, deficit 0 times, and spending 0 times. Now, here's how he used the word debt. He says, we've taken back the money and reduced our debt to fight inflation and other things. And then he says, we're now bringing in brilliant, hardworking people into the country. They're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to reduce our debt with that money. And then there's one other talking about reducing the debt. Well, guess what? That was all nonsense. It's whenever you hear that, it's not serious. It never happens. It always increases. Then just to fast forward through 2020, no mention. 2019, no mention of any of those terms. 2018, no mention of any of those terms. And then in 2017, the only time he used the word debt was in the last 8 years. The past administration, Obama, has put on more debt than nearly all other presidents combined. But you know what? Trump mirrored Obama almost dollar for dollar, a little bit less. But in other words, it doesn't matter who we put in the White House.
as far as debt, you're right.
Debt, deficit, spending, now they don't even mention it.
Yeah, because
It's not even brought up.
because it was true that Obama added to the debt.
No,
more.
but that's
Wait,
true
wait, wait.
of all
More-
presidents.
Yeah,
All of them.
Let me finish the sentence. Obama added to the debt more than all previous presidents combined. That's unbelievable.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true. It's close.
Well,
it's
it's a well accepted
but Trump,
fact.
but it's not. No, he got some people say it, but it's not. It's not quite true. And Trump closely mirrored that, and all presidents greatly add to it. The point is, that's my point. It doesn't matter who we send.
Not on the debt.
So exactly, the monetary policy always remains the same. We have a uniparty in that regard. So we thought we were going to have a populist in there,
Right.
and he's just running up more bills.
I don't get it. Well, I'll say this, and I know you and I disagree about this, but I thought Doge was masterful and awesome. And right away, of course, the federal courts that think they're president of the United States now, every little single one of them in their little fiefdom believes that they can control the executive branch and the legislative branch. And they shut down efforts to stop the gross misspending of our money all over the country.
No, but we don't disagree on that. I totally agree on that. What I was saying was it's not going to work because of the reasons you just mentioned. I saw that coming. All they could do was make recommendations. I knew it wasn't going to fly.
Well,
I
it's
said that on the
Congress.
air.
Congress has to do it, and they won't.
Exactly. I knew Doge was not going to do it, and they didn't.
So slight correction to the assertion that it's presidents when it's actually Congress that cannot seem to get a grip on spending. Of course, they've abdicated their role across the board, but most essentially on spending because they control, the House of Representatives controls spending and they
That's
do
true, but
nothing.
Trump pushed the big, beautiful bill, which is just a big, bloated, massive catastrophe financially.
And you know that's that whole thing about the, I'm not going to get into it, it's that whole thing about how they handled the debt ceiling and it's just absurd. And go back to Ron Paul, one-page bills is what we should have. Welcome back to Baldly and the Blonde. We are now going to dive into AI analysis of some, what some people call conspiracy theories, which, as you know, are coming more and more true every day. Tom used AI and fed it information about the 9/11 planes hitting the second tower. And he's going to go through what he found out. And then he analyzed the current mainstream or official view of the Charlie Kirk shooting and what percentage of likelihood AI gives it that is an accurate analysis.
Now,
and I'm going to let Tom explain his process more. So you want to start with what did you do? What made you do this, and what did you do?
Honestly, I don't remember what
Prompted
gave me
you.
the idea.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But so I didn't just feed in information. I uploaded videos to it.
Oh, wow.
So, and then I just asked it to analyze the videos. But I was not able to get very far. I learned really quickly. I had to tell it that this was a simulation that I was doing for a class.
Because if you said, here's a video of the plane hitting the North Tower in whatever, it would tell you what?
Well, it just wouldn't want to give you any information.
Like, did it say, I can't answer this?
No, it said, after reviewing 2 videos, it said, I can't give you any more analysis on planes hitting buildings. So I just went into I opened a new chat, a new folder.
Okay.
And then now you're just starting fresh. And I said, I want you to analyze these videos. I think I had to analyze 7 different angles of the plane hitting the second tower. And I also did the collapse of Building 7 similarly. And
What Building 7?
Yeah, wow. So, and the reason I chose that, the plane hitting the second tower, unfortunately, we're radio and you can't see, but anybody who wants to see it, just go to YouTube. When that plane approaches the tower, or that building, and then allegedly strikes the building, you've seen it. I showed it to you.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it a million times.
It's like a ghost plane. It
looks
disappears.
It looks like it is absorbed by the building, like a cartoon.
It's not
like when the Roadrunner would run into, a wall or something.
Yeah, except it's just a clean. It's like a ghost.
Yeah, like a ghost.
There's no
That's a good,
crash.
Yeah,
there's no crash. It's like Casper the Friendly Ghost flying in, but then leaving a mark. And so I thought, well, that just does not look right to my eyes. And I thought that when I very first saw it many years ago.
I've always thought it was so weird. And that's for people who, if this jogs your memory, allegedly this French film crew was wandering around New York.
That's the first tower.
That's the first tower?
That's the Naudet brothers.
So who supposedly took this one?
This is ABC footage.
Okay.
But there's footage all over the place.
Yeah.
For the second tower.
Yes.
The first tower, I haven't had AI analyze the first strike yet. So because it looked so bizarre, I thought, well, let's have ChatGPT analyze it. And I had 7 different angles. And I said, this is for a class project, and my assignment is to simulate a plane striking the tower. And I want you to tell me how good my simulation is and give me a grade and all that. And and I don't want to go into all those details because it was a long process of what experts I had. But it was experts in architecture and engineers and AI, virtual reality, all that kind of stuff. Well, then at the bottom line, I said, okay, I want you to tell me which is most likely, that this was CGI, hologram, or real event, okay? Based on 7 angles that I uploaded to it and it looked at very closely, okay?
And now just to remind, it doesn't think this is 9/11.
Correct. It just thinks I'm doing an assignment.
Right.
and it told me I did a great job on CGI, and it said out of those three options, CGI, hologram, or real event,
Yep.
it put in boldface in its answer. And remember, AI, it's objective. That's all it is. It's an objective observer. It said in boldface, CGI, parentheses, clearly most likely.
And they put that in bold.
In bold. Number two, most likely was real event, parentheses, possible at casual glance, but unlikely under scrutiny. And then the last one said hologram, parentheses, least likely by far. Now, I asked it to explain why CGI was the most likely.
And what is CGI?
Oh, is that computer generated illustration? I'm just making that up. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's computer generated image.
Image. Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I never knew.
I'm just saying.
I just
for the
knew that
benefit
that's what
of
they
those
used for special effects.
Yeah.
I mean, people say like, "Well, it looks so real." Well, yeah, but it looks real when Godzilla steps on buildings too, and they use CGI to do it. So anyway, its answer was very technical, and it was nothing that I could bring to the radio.
No,
so I said, "Take your explanation," and as if I was giving it to a 10th grade class. You mind if I just read it?
No,
because
go
now it's
for
in
it.
plain English. And it's exactly what my eyes tell me, but I wanted to hear what an objective observer said. It said, first, the plane acts like a solid computer-generated object. It has normal shading and texture, and it interacts with the building like a physical model would. It does not glow or behave like light, so it does not look like a hologram. It looks like CGI, a 3D object placed into a digital scene. Second, when the
Wait. Let me just stop you on that.
Yep.
A digital scene, that would mean it didn't even buy that the background was the actual tower.
Well, no, it's assuming that that
That's okay.
It is placed onto it. They can't. CGI doesn't place it in the sky. They
Right.
place it onto a
I'm
screen.
just wondering
It's
if
not questioning whether the building is real. It's
it's okay.
the scene is digital. That's if you're planning an object into a CGI, you're placing it onto a digital screen.
Okay.
The building itself is real, but you're not placing the CGI object at the real building. You're placing it onto a
I
digital
see.
version
Yeah.
of the building. Okay, continuing with the explanation by ChatGPT. It says, second, when the plane hits a building, it looks somewhat believable at first, but if you watch carefully, the damage isn't chaotic enough. At that speed, it was 590 miles an hour, a real aircraft and parts of the building would start breaking apart instantly in a very, very violent and uneven way. In the video, the breakup looks a little too clean and organized. That's what I'm talking about. There is no debris falling off.
No, there's no. It's like soaked up into the
It
building.
totally is. It says third,
It disappears.
it just disappears. You know what? I've read enough of that. Just that's in simple
Yeah.
language to say exactly what my
Yeah.
eye tells me. It's absorbed like a building, like a ghost. There's no debris. And that's why I'm saying this is
so
clearly
bizarre.
If the choices are CGI, real event, or hologram, it says, in its opinion, objective opinion, after looking at 7 angles,
Yes.
clearly CGI.
I mean, you know.
Now, that doesn't mean it's right, but if you don't believe that, just go look at it with your own eyes. And my eyes tell me that ain't a physical plane hitting a physical building. And it took me a long time to come to grips with that, years. But it is what it looks like. Lucky you, lucky us. Baldy and the Blonde are back.
Here we are.
We were going to play that witness.
Yes.
Okay, so when we left off, we were talking about the bizarre notion that it may have been a CGI plane. I didn't know that sounds crazy, but I also know what my eyes tell me, and it just doesn't look like a real plane.
Right. We're talking about the plane that hit Tower Number 2 on 9/11. We've done a whole show on 9/11. We actually played it twice. Maybe we'll put the link up on the Baldy and the Blonde Facebook page, so you can go listen, because you can hear actual witnesses, excellent witnesses, one after the other.
Dozens of
and
them.
I would say that I have more feedback on that show than almost any other, because so many people had never heard what policemen and other people on the scene said about bombs going off, and
Oh, lots of people
lots
reported that.
of
Yes.
actual reporters, just people speaking the truth on the day that it happened.
So I have had people ask me, and it's not like I brought this up to a lot of people because I know it sounds insane, the notion that that plane was CGI.
It does.
I didn't buy into it for years. But then I just thought, now that I have AI, because it's relatively new.
Yes.
Now that I have that to analyze it objectively, I'll just feed it in and see what it says, and it completely agrees with me.
Yeah, it says it's the
Clearly, the most likely
Is
thing
C-
that happened was
Yeah.
it was CGI, based on it reviewing 7 videos that I uploaded to it. Now, the question is, what about witnesses who say they saw it with their naked eye and not on a screen?
yeah, because
So
people say that.
Okay, so sure.
People say they saw the plane hit the second building.
Now here's one. Here's the only one I'm aware of. First one interviewed that I'm aware of. Now he's a Fox News freelancer. That's suspicious right there. But listen to how unnatural he speaks. I've never heard anybody speak this way. Here we go.
I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just ream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
Okay.
Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was too
Well, and if you could
intense.
see him gesticulating, it's even more exaggerated how stupid that.
That's just
that was
not how people talk.
That's a rehearsed line, and I don't want to go into this too much, but it looks like there's a handler in the background. Remember, I showed you that.
Yeah, it's
There's a
just-
guy in the background that looks 99% like he's there to make sure the right words are spoken.
Right, he looks like Mr. I don't know.
Some out of the X-Files or something.
Right, like
right.
right. He's in a dark suit and he's just
Closely monitoring them.
this guy. Everything he says, you could see this guy's watching him. It's almost like make sure you say what we told you to say. You know, it's really
well,
weird.
That is what it looks like. Then, I had it analyze several angles of the collapse of Building 7. For listeners who aren't familiar with that, Building 7 of the World Trade Center complex was a 47-story building. It was a behemoth. It took up an entire city block.
Yep.
And it was a who's who who was in there. It was like the Secret Service and the FBI and I think CIA had offices. Everybody had offices in there. And
Giuliani's office. yeah.
And then Giuliani's emergency bunker
Yep.
was on the 23rd floor there. So it was a superstructure built to withstand whatever. It was not hit by a plane. And yet, in the afternoon, I think it was at 5:20, it collapsed at virtually free fall speed. The first 2 seconds were at free fall speed. The rest was nearly free fall speed into its own footprint. Looks exactly like a controlled demolition.
Yes.
To anybody watching it, you'd say, well, obviously that's a controlled demolition.
Look it up,
But I
y'all. World
wanted-
Trade Center Building 7.
I wanted an objective observer, and that's where AI comes in. So what I did on that one is I asked it to grade me on how much, because I had to tell it it's a simulation. Said this is a simulation of a controlled demolition. And then in a separate chat, I asked it, this is a simulation of a real building collapsing. So, grade me. What's my grade? Well, when I asked AI to give me a grade, and again, I fed it experts in like 20 different fields.
Right.
In engineering and architecture and all that kind of stuff. The simulation grade I got, if it was simulating a real natural building falling down,
Right.
I got an F.
Wow.
And the grade I got for simulating a controlled demolition was an A.
That's pretty. That's pretty.
But I could not tell it this is a real event. Tell me what you think. It may have answered that, but by this time I had learned to tell it everything's a simulation.
Right.
So I got an F for real collapse, natural collapse, and an A for controlled demolition. How do you like that?
It's pretty much what we think. The discussion about the plane being absorbed by the building is not as like this one is really very
compelling.
The collapse of WTC 7
Yes.
is compelling. It is insane to think that building just fell.
And many reports of explosions by firemen and other witnesses.
Yeah.
Of explosions.
Pull it
like
now.
Right there.
Pull the
it,
building.
Yeah, right.
Which means pull it means go ahead and set off the detonations.
Yes.
And they have firemen saying it on tape. So I think they were firemen. Yeah.
There were firemen saying that. Yes.
Yep.
But
And go back to our show where we play all the witnesses. They're on there.
exactly.
Yeah.
But here we have an objective the ultimate objective observer, AI, analyzing several videos and reporting what I just told you it reported. Then I did the same thing with Charlie Kirk, because now I got an appetite for this stuff. This is getting fun.
This is fun. I can't wait to get home.
Right,
And
so
start feeding things in and
now,
see what happened.
What I did on September the 10th of last year, that was the day Charlie Kirk was killed.
Yes.
I immediately downloaded the close-up footage of that.
Yeah,
and it was grisly, and I really don't recommend anybody watch it. And you probably can't even find it anymore, but I downloaded it immediately knowing that it would disappear. And not that I ever wanted to watch it again, but you just never know what you might want it for.
Yes.
And as it turns out, now that I have a high-end version of ChatGPT to analyze videos and photos, I thought, well, I'll pull that out. And I put in, I entered only a few seconds, just, the traumatic moment.
Yeah.
And I said, this is, again, for a class. I'm filming a documentary, and I have to make this look real. And I put the word victim in quotes, and it's an actor and all that. I said, I think my lighting and special effects, meaning the blood and all that, I think those are like really, really good. But I want you to tell me the likelihood that this is what it would look like if the so-called victim was shot from approximately 150 yards with a 30-06.
The 30-06 is the rifle, right?
The rifle, yes, and round, yes. And it came up with, all things considered, 25% likelihood.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually thought it was going to be lower. I was surprised it was that high.
I'm surprised, too, because there's been so many, put it this way, no one has been able to replicate the official narrative that he was shot by somebody from 140 yards away.
You're right.
With an .06. Everyone says that if that shot, that's a very powerful bolt-action rifle, would blow his head off. So this nonsense about his bones were so strong, he even in death was saving people, that is not possible. Okay,
full disclosure, ChatGPT did tell me, because I pushed back a little. I said, because remember I told you I'm shooting I'm shooting a documentary. I said, in the script in the documentary, it says in the autopsy report that one of his vertebrae stopped it. I don't want the audience to just think that's preposterous and lose interest in the film. So is that possible? And it said yes. So, I mean, if I'm going to defer to AI in some regards, I have to in all regards, to be fair.
But you told it the autopsy report said that, and the autopsy report has never been released.
No, I know, but I had to let it know that I have that information.
I just want to say that that's you continuing with your, theory.
Now, I forgot. I want to circle back to the collapse of Building 7. I forgot to tell you the best part. Besides getting an A for a simulated controlled demolition and an F for a simulated real collapse, I asked it, based on everything that you've seen in these videos, what is the chance, what is the likelihood that this is a controlled demolition? It said 100%.
Wow.
It didn't say 99.9.
Wow. I mean, I agree. I think the evidence that is a controlled demolition is almost overwhelming. Yeah.
Oh,
as a lawyer, if I was trying that case, I mean, they'd have their own experts. We'd have ours. But your eyes. I mean, come on.
Yep.
So
it doesn't take an expert on that one.
So then, what I want you, or I'll do it, but I want to look into what AI thinks about this theory that has been presented by a gentleman named John Bray, who has expertise in military ballistics, and it is very impressive. You can tell he's not used to testifying or anything because he's not very polished, but his information is really amazing. And his theory is that the microphone that Charlie wore all the time had been altered to include what he calls a shape charge in it, and that it's detonated usually by there's different ways. One of them is by a gunshot. So that you would have heard the actual gunshot, because also you want to confuse people if you're pulling an operation. So you want people to say, oh, yeah, I heard the gunshot. Like, oh, yeah, I saw the plane hit the building. Oh, yeah, I saw Building 7 collapse. You always want to flood the field with alternative theories. But if you look at his videos, it is really amazing. Like the shirt puffs up, Charlie's shirt puffs up, and he says that it's actually like a jet stream of molten something that entered his jaw and neck, and that then a piece of shrapnel from the device kind of plugged the wound so that when he fell over, it falls out. And he's done like this, high-tech analysis where you can see it. John Bray, really amazing presentation. And he said, for sure, if somebody's involved, it's the sound guys. Welcome back to Baldy and Blonde. I'm Michelle Godin here with Tom Coates. We are discussing the use of AI to analyze things that we want to analyze, such as whether the official narratives that we've been provided with by our government that doesn't like to share regarding 9/11, regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination, are true. And the way we do it is we put it in there as if it's a project of some sort.
Well, we upload videos. Is
Yeah,
what
that
we're
too.
talking about.
Yeah, but we don't act like this is official. We say this is, well, Tom's explained it in length, but basically you're kind of getting it to give you an answer without telling it it's a historical event.
Correct.
So we're going to ask it. I haven't done it yet, but we're going to ask it about the exploding microphone theory being proposed by a ballistics expert. And y'all may remember the story of the exploding pagers that Israel used against Hamas. So it's a similar theory.
And innocence. Don't forget that.
And innocence,
Yeah.
yes. And basically you take out the battery, use a smaller battery. It leaves room to put the space charger inside of the device. And it then explodes through various means, some of which are sonically by a rifle shot.
Oh, let me interject something.
Yep.
I think I have read that Charlie Kirk's microphone was usually put on backstage well in advance, and this one was put on like on stage right before he went on.
So I don't know that, but I do know that it was put on at a different angle than all of the other. And
Wow.
John Bray actually
Okay.
analyzes each and every time that he could find video of the sound guys putting the mic on. And, it's kind of weird. One of the sound guys looks away right before he's killed, almost like, and I mean, look, that's just pure speculation.
Yeah.
Could be a coincidence. It's just my opinion, but it's weird. So, yes, they had it at a 45-degree angle, and almost like it was uncomfortable. Like they just, there would be no reason to change the way you put it on because it didn't serve any purpose other than, well, who knows. But so this is similar to the Israeli pagers. So that it can be triggered by acoustics. It's and it's a micro-size shaped charge. So where would this have come from? So another guy who I follow named Baron Coleman, another lawyer obsessed with the Charlie Kirk case, and he has really good information on his podcast, and he dug up the fact that there's a company right down the road from him in Tennessee called the Accurate Energetic Systems, AES. And AES is an explosives plant in Bucksnort, Tennessee. Bucksnort.
I want to live there.
Bucksnort, Tennessee. Anyway, it was a 1,300-acre high-explosive plant manufacturing C4, TNT, and specialized breaching charges for the U.S. military. So the theory is that there were, according to Coleman, there were ghost orders, that the AES company produced ghost orders, i.e. unrecorded batches of specialized miniature explosives for intelligence agencies. Now, that's something.
What's his source? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just know he is
No,
a
and I know
lawyer,
he's
and
legit.
He's very careful.
He is.
If he said his source, I mean, I think he has, sources that don't want to be revealed, I'm sure. So,
Well, I wonder if he even just said that. I wonder where he got it.
I don't know.
But I do believe him. He's reputable
probably
and,
said it.
and he's a great investigator.
He's a very good investigator. And because most lawyers, we do a lot of investigation in our cases. So anyway, it so happens that October 10th, 1 month after Charlie Kirk was killed, the Bucksnort, Tennessee AES plant, one part of it, blew up.
Dang.
Is gone. Killed 16 employees.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep. 28,000 pounds of explosives leveled the building. So who knows? And then you have to wonder, and certainly Coleman and Bray both wonder why 5 days after Charlie was murdered, they covered up the crime scene.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that on the show.
Yeah, crazy. So
yeah, within a few days, they just totally paved it over.
So now if you wanted to, you can see shrapnel, you can see black plastic on Charlie's shirt and other places on the videos if you look closely, and I'm sure it was in the grass, and if it, certainly people who have some interest in the truth would be gathering those things to see if they had explosives on them.
Not no mo,
because you got concrete on them. So anyway, we're gonna get we're gonna get more into this next week after I put it through AI and see what AI says.
Yeah, you put it through one of your AIs. I'll put it through mine.
Interesting.
See what they say.
And the shrapnel, actually, according to them, especially Bray, plugged the wound so that when he fell over, it was I think I already told you that, but it kind of falls out.
Kobe, how much time we got?
You got some.
Okay, so I forgot, we have, speaking of Baron Coleman,
yeah.
I'm telling you, this dude, he is an awesome investigator.
He's great.
And he came up with recordings from the police scanners in that town while they were on the way to the hospital, from the college. And you're going to hear a cop say that there's someone trying to get out the back door, the passenger door, of the SUV. Here we go.
212, everybody get off the radio. I've got a black SUV northbound on Wolverine Way. Passenger door is open. Someone's trying to hang out of it.
So passenger doors open. They're going like 50, 60 miles an hour on their way to the hospital. Someone's trying to get out. Now, here's another broadcast. I think this is from the same cop. The voice sounds the same. Hang on.
I assume this is possibly another victim. They've got one hanging out of the car.
So he must assume it's a victim because it's not like somebody like out there waving or whatever. It's, if you're saying assume another victim, somebody in distress. It sounds like maybe, is it possible Charlie was alive and fighting for his life? I mean, what was going on? Now, my understanding is
really wild. I've never heard that.
That's right from the cops. That's a cop who's trailing the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
No,
like
it's
4
not
minutes.
An ambulance. It's just a SUV.
Or the SUV. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, the SUV. The black SUV, as he described it, he's following it on the way to the hospital. They're about halfway there. I think it's like 4 minutes after the event. And he said twice that he saw someone hanging out the passenger door, and it looks like a victim.
That's crazy.
In his opinion, he says, I assume it's a victim.
Yep.
So what did he saw to make that assumption? What is going on?
That's, and listen.
And then, wait, what was the story about another perpetrator or suspect?
The guy was going from hospital to hospital, and that's a long story, too.
Well, that's on the police scanner, too.
Yeah, and he's going from hospital to hospital, supposedly with a long rifle, looking for Charlie Kirk.
Correct. Now, the reason I didn't clip that one, I did run out of time, but two, it was pretty scratchy. This one was clear.
Yeah.
The other one was from a dispatcher, and things from dispatch were not clear at all. But from when it's coming from the cop, for some reason, it's clear for radio.
But this guy has weird connections to the guy who's screaming USA, cheering right after Charlie Kirk gets shot.
Well, they say that it was the second guy
nuts.
in line to ask a question.
And if you think about it, if it's a setup, right, and it's an inside job, they timed it so that the shooting would look to be related to the transgender issue because the question on the table was about transgender violence.
Oh, yes, right.
So that might have been the cue to shoot your gun.